All right, let's talk about something that every single startup founder worries about. It's that nagging question, is all this growth we're seeing the real deal, actual product market fit, or is it just a mirage we've created with a ton of marketing dollars? We're going to crack the code on how to tell the difference.
Seriously, think about it. This is the question that keeps people up at night. Your charts are all going up and to the right, which feels great. But is it sustainable? Are you actually building a rock-solid foundation of loyal customers? Or are you just renting their attention for a little while? Well, we're going to unpack a case study that gives a pretty shocking answer. So here's the setup. It all kicked off with this one B2B SaaS company. Over 18 months, they poured a whopping $4.2 million into marketing. And hey, it seemed to work. They got 3,200 new customers. Revenue grew by 240%. I mean, on paper, that looks like a home run, right? The board was thrilled, totally ready to double down on that spending. But that's when they found a tiny crack in the foundation. And this, right here, was the giant red flag. Take a look at this. The 6-month churn rate for customers they got through paid ads was a staggering 61%. 61! Now compare that to their organic users, people who found them on their own. Their churn was only 18%. You guys, this isn't just a small gap. This is a massive warning sign that something is fundamentally broken in their growth engine. So this all led to the big, scary $4.2 million question. They had a board meeting coming up in just 3 weeks, and they had to figure it out. Are our customers genuinely in love with our product because it solves a real problem, or are they just here because we threw a discount at them? A typical research project would take months, and that was time they just didn't have. To get these answers and get them fast, they turned to a pretty cool tool called Antipica.ai. Now, their whole approach was about going way beyond just looking at dashboards. They wanted to simulate what their customers were really thinking and doing using a super sophisticated AI system. Let's break down exactly how this thing works. Okay, so Atypica's system has these 3 layers. First, it scrapes public forums like Reddit and stuff to get a really broad sense of the market. Then, it uses these incredibly accurate AI models that are trained to mimic human psychology and behavior. But here's the real game changer, the third layer. It creates AI personas based on the company's own customer interview transcripts. This gives them an exclusive, behind-the-curtain look at what makes their actual users tick. But look, just having a bunch of cool AI personas to chat with isn't enough. Not when you have to walk into a high-stakes board meeting. They needed cold, hard evidence, not just some interesting theoretical conversations. And that's where the method they used became absolutely critical. So the team switched gears. They moved away from what's called discussion mode, which is great for just spitballing ideas, and went into interview mode. Think of interview mode as the science part. It's all about gathering structured, comparable data that you can actually defend. It's designed to separate the real signal from all the noise. So, what does interview mode actually do? Well, every single AI persona was put through the exact same rigorous jobs to be done interview. This is a framework that gets to the real reason a customer hires a product to do a job. The AI asks these smart, probing follow-up questions, digging into things like, okay, so what happens when that discount you got expires? This let the team run 200 interviews all at once and find clear, undeniable patterns in the data. And this super rigorous process, it led them to a discovery that was completely invisible in all of their normal analytics dashboards. And honestly, this one insight changed absolutely everything for them. And here it is. This is the truth they uncovered. A staggering 70% of their new customers were what they called marketing dependent. These people were just responding to a promotion. They weren't trying to solve a deep, painful problem. That means only 30%, just 30, represented real, genuine product market fit. This discovery totally rewrote the story of their growth. So let's look at the difference, because it's night and day. The 70% group, they found the product through an ad, they bought it because of a discount, and they barely even used 20% of the features. Their job to be done was basically to look innovative for their boss. Now, the 30% group, totally different story. They were actively searching for a solution, they carefully compared 3 to 5 different options, and they integrated the product into their daily workflow in the first week. Their job? To save over 12 hours of miserable manual work every single week. See? These aren't just slightly different customers. They are playing 2 completely different games. Okay, so armed with this powerful new insight, the company didn't just tweak their ad copy. No way. They made a massive strategic pivot. They stopped chasing those flashy, empty vanity metrics and started going after real, durable, sustainable growth. The decision was bold, but it was crystal clear. They immediately cut $3.2 million from that broad marketing spend that was just attracting the wrong people. And instead, they reinvested $1.8 million of it to specifically target those operations leaders who had that urgent 12-hour-a-week problem. And the results? They were almost immediate. First off, their customer acquisition cost, or CAC, dropped by a huge 38%. They were literally spending less money to get way better customers. Next up, retention. Their 6-month retention rate, which was a leaky 39% before, shot up to a super solid 71%. The new customers were actually sticking around. And finally, the big one. Because these new customers had a much more painful, urgent problem, the average contract value more than doubled. It went up by 2.4 times. We're talking more revenue, way less churn, and lower costs. That's the trifecta. The key takeaway from this whole story is this. The real win wasn't just fixing a leaky bucket. The huge gain was getting the ability to tell the difference between genuine, organic demand and a marketing-fueled illusion before you go and invest millions of dollars chasing the wrong thing. And that brings us right back to where we started. But this time, the question is for you. I want you to take a really hard look at your own growth. Is it built on the solid foundation of solving a real, painful problem for people? Or is it a beautiful but temporary marketing mirage? The answer just might change everything.